This is the part 3, which is the final process and how I combine all my images. So we have luminance, HA, oxygen, and sulfur. So first, um, I will open up Pixel Math. Okay, and this is my formula for the Hubble palette. And then in the color space, you use RGB, and um, the option create new image should be selected, and just execute. Here is the mix. Now there's too much green, less of a yellow, and some magenta stars. So let's name this as our base color. Base color image. Okay, base image. And the first 3 process that I use is background neutralization. Just execute that. Okay, it got rid some of the magenta, but not much. And then color calibration. I just take the default and execute. All right. Okay. Now, too much green. I use SCNR. Take the default, which is green, average neutral amount, and preserve lightness, and just execute. All right. So here is the fixed image that has been corrected by these 3 processes. So we're gonna get rid of the magenta stars, but first I usually just take a capture of these colors in color mask. So I'm gonna use color mask and prepare my mask. So I'm gonna start with red, if there's any. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as the layers, and just hit OK. Okay. Now I'm gonna name this red mask. Put that aside. And then go back to color mask, green, and again 5 layers. And oops, sorry, I have to be using my base image. Okay. Alright, so this is my green mask. Rename that to green mask. Set aside. Go back. And blue. Okay. Alright. A blue channel, more like kind of background. So blue mask. that aside. And last, usually I take um, yellow. I take, but more it's like similar to green, so I won't even bother. But I take it anyway, just in case I need to do something about it later on. But yeah. Right, they're very similar to green. Okay, so name that yellow mask. And to get rid of the magenta stars, I'll create magenta mask. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops. All right. So magenta mask. All right. So this magenta mask, I'm going to mask it on my base image and disable the show mask. Open up curves transformation. There it is. Reset. Open up preview. So the magenta mask is the magenta color on the stars. So if you look in, if you look here, this I think there's a zoom here. I know. Let me just show you here. Whoops. All right. See this magenta mask on the, I mean the magenta stars. So we're gonna get rid of this. Okay. Go back to our preview. So we're gonna select saturation here. Bring it all down. Okay. And execute. Okay. So kind of fix it, but need a little bit more. Go back. Bring it down again and execute. Okay. Now, see, it brings it down a little bit. Not enough. Well, we can process it later on. So it's not that bad anymore. So first things first is going to adjust the colors. So this yellow here, I'd like to bring out into more like orange. So this mask, I'm going to use the yellow mask. So as you can see here, so drag that here and that becomes your mask. Then open up preview and you can experiment here. I usually take the blue, bring it more to the top because here we'll switch that to blue. So bring it more, give it color. Okay. And then make it a little brighter. You want this red, like darker orange here than yellowish over here. So there's so many ways to do it, but you can adjust individual colors as well. you know, curve it like an S, so this brings more of the light color, more um, what do you call it? It will make it more noticeable, I would say. And just from here, just experiment what you need to do. If you don't like it, reset it with the X mark here. Then, you know, if there's no here, bring it. It'll bring it yellow. See, now you have an orange and yellow here because it's sulfur. It's there. It's just that um, during the pixel math, it is mixed already. So if your mask covers this, it will bring it more. See, it separates it from the orange, and that's how I know that sulfur is on that area. Okay, so let's execute that. All right, so um, what we're gonna do is change our color for the blue because it's very light. I need some cyan on here. Um, how do you pronounce that? Cayenne, some of them, but it's blue. So I'm going to, sometimes I adjust this because it's too dark. You can also adjust your mask and bring out so you don't have to adjust many times. Okay, then I make that a mask. Open up curves again. Preview. Now the blue one is here, so if you're gonna bring it down, your mask gonna change. See? Okay. And dark, darker. So don't push it too much. Alright, so here, it's up to you from here. I mean, I'm just experimenting here and see which one is better. Okay, for now, I'll use this. Now, by doing this, it does not affect your stars at all because all these masks don't have any stars except for the yellow or green. But most of the time, when you're adjusting your green mask, you're not gonna see um, a lot of stars here, so it doesn't touch a lot. So okay, now that one is done. Um, the yellow, I need more color here, um, more like reddish here. So I'm gonna adjust the yellow, or I would say the green. Yeah, the green, and I just want to leave around here. I'm gonna adjust that. And make that red. Okay, just like that. Instead of covering a lot of whites, turn that green mask on. that the mask. Preview. All right. So let's see. It's so hard to bring that red in here. You, oops. Okay. My mask is not strong. It's not too strong. Alright, let's bring that a little bit. I'm gonna use yellow mask. Okay, almost there. Okay. Now it's more like red in there. Too much. And bring it down. And too much that or saturated too much. Alright, I would say right there. Right there. That I like. I need more blue. So let's go back to the blue mask. Oops. Okay. Oh, change. Sorry. Here. You want cayenne color there. Okay. I'm gonna reduce the contrast a little bit. Okay. do need more blue. There. Okay. And execute. Okay. I'm gonna go back to yellow because this is too saturated, but I'll fix that in luminance. So in here, it's up to you. You can start this as your image now. Um, Next, we're gonna do is adjust the um, luminance. Okay, let's adjust the luminance first. Let's fix that. Too dark. Okay. Um, let's brighten it up. Brighten that luminance up. Put more contrast in. Well, okay. I'll settle for this. Make more detail. The star gets so big, so you have to be careful here. You don't want that stars to like blow up. Okay. Now, stars too big. I'll fix that with convolution later on. The convolution, but yeah, okay, I'll settle for this. Alright. Now it's gonna make this really sharp. Let's put deconvolution here. I usually just go about 1 and just try it out. Okay. Okay. Right. So I got a lot of details on the bottom here. Okay. And then I'm gonna use, okay, go back to, let's try this. Let's go back to our base image now. It's too saturated, but I'm not worried about it because we can control that during luminance. I'm gonna use a process called convolution. Convolution is to blurry the image. So I usually, oh sorry, there's a mask. Make sure you disable that mask. Okay, so if you go slide more, it's too blurry. Just slide this thing to the end. I think that's more than enough. I usually get a little bit more, about like that. Okay, execute. Oops, execute that. Alright, so it's blurry. Now you have your luminance. I'm gonna use um, LRGB combination, right? The default here is these are all checked, so bring your blurry image in front, uncheck the RGB, and then select your luminance channel. Okay. Now here is the chrominance noise reduction if you want to use it. I don't usually use it if my colors or my images are already clean. This is the saturation here. I do experiment with color weights if I don't like the desired outcome. Lightness here gets darker over here, gets very light over here. So I'll start with 450 or 400 on both, and then execute. Alright, that's too dark, as you can see here. Alright, so let's undo. The lightness will bring it up more to like 300. Let's see. Okay, it's getting better. A little bit more. Go back to 200. Right, see, that's too much yellow, too much saturation. So let's bring it up to like 470. And here you can bring the luminance 100% and you can lessen the color here. So it's up to you. I usually maybe experiment with until you get your desired color combination, as you can see here. Okay, this is pretty much it. And I'll give it more blue. Okay, and lightness of 190. All right, so basically this is how I mix. If you want, you can finish this up in Photoshop or whatever photo editor you want, but this is the basic mixing, and by reading a lot of other technique you can enhance your post process on your images. But this is it. This is how I do it. I usually save this in as a TIFF file, 16-bit. And then I open up my Lightroom here. This is how I enhance that image, because in Lightroom I have more control in real time, you know. So I'll import that here, develop that in Lightroom. So okay, here is the good thing about this is that you have brushes that you don't find in Pixinsight. So these spot brushes, I usually use clarity here, right? And to bring the details, not forcing the stars, make sure your feather is all the way up. Your flow is probably around here, density about the same. If you do bring out those details, you can increase the flow. As you can see, the details here, you can dodge the stars and bring it out. So knock yourself out, whatever you want to do, right? And you can even desaturate, saturate color. So the brush, the the areas that you just brushed. Okay. Another technique I use here is to use, clarity, contrast, exposure, and highlights. You can bring the highlights down, bring the shadow, make it a little darker, lighter, saturate it more. So easy here. And you can actually um, use I usually use highlights in a brush. If the stars get too bloated, you know, you can use the highlights, brush it here, and it'll make it, you know, you can fix stars that bothers you, I would say. But yes, this is it. And you can find the final image that I processed using this technique alone, my final image. So it will be in the description. And thank you. This is the final process of my how I do stuff. And in the usually you never stop learning. You improve the more you do it, the more you improve because you pick up small things on other sites. But I'm all self study, so good luck.